Okay, stand by. Stand by. Oh, I didn't know we were on that the whole time. All right. So this baby is going to be on the YouTube.
All right.
Christian Binnie.
Yeah, Mr. Gary Roberts. How are you, sir?
Okay, hold on. I got it. We're almost there.
All right.
All right, ARMTV Nation, if you are joining us, this is my very first live business. I'm going to do my best. Hopefully we'll get this right. Anyways, all right. Okay, Carl and Billy Collins, we have a couple dedicated fans who I feel bad because I want to say, hey, bitches, get a life. What are you doing on ARMTV? Every time I do something, you're like right there. But at the same time, I do appreciate it. So for those of you out there who have nothing better to do than to be on ARMTV, hey, thank you very much for picking us. Out of all the places in the world on the internet you could be, you're choosing ARMTV. I appreciate it. On with us today, this is our very first inaugural live broadcast with a guest, Mr. the one and only Christian Binnie. Welcome to ARMTV.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you. How you been? It's been so long.
Now, when I said, can you come on the show? And I said, we're going to do it live. Did that freak you out a little bit?
Oh God, no, not at all, buddy.
Really? It freaked me out. I was nervous. So there we have it.
I just think you're only going to have like a couple of people listening and watching because it's me. Not many people know who I am anymore. So, you know, especially all these newbies that are in the sport. They really know who I am.
No, listen, you tap into that is why ARMTV is important, because there's a lot of people who need to go to class. They need an education in arm wrestling 101, hashtag know your history, bitches. Christian, when was the last time we met?
I think the last time we saw each other had to be the 09 AAA Nationals. I think it was in South Carolina, because I had retired after that for 4 years, and I'd been out of sport. And you got out probably soon after that, I think. And I got back in 2013. Thank you, Devin Larratt, you pain in the butt. So I think that was it, 09.
Okay, so for those of people joining, I've never done this before. I'm gonna share a match. I looked up Christian Binnie on the YouTube.
I only see losses. You only see losses of me on YouTube.
Yeah, but the first match that I found was you and Devin Larratt.
Losing, yes.
I mean, you had a good match.
Yeah, but it's a loss. A loss is a loss, but it's to Devin. So, you know, it is what it is.
Can you see this?
Yeah. Mm-hmm, yep.
And where are we at?
We're at the 2014 WAL Regionals in Las Vegas at, oh my God, what was the name of the club? I forgot the name of the club. I had lost to Devin earlier in the day, and I had to come back on the B side to pull him. His hit the first match, I wasn't even expecting it, but it didn't matter anyway. I wasn't going to win.
And you're in it right there with Superman. Look at his face. He's getting all fired up. Now listen, ARMTV Nation, I don't show full matches. That's a link. That's Rick Kamana. If you want to see the whole thing, I'll link down to it below. I have this thing where you don't show the money shot when you get footage. Oh, shout out. Look. Bam.
There you go.
Shout out to my man, Uncle John. for those of you who are joining us, we're now up to 20 people, Christian Binnie.
Uh-oh.
20.
There are actually 20 people that
20
care.
bitches. Listen, for those of you who don't know, New Year's Eve, mark it down on your calendars. Something wicked this way comes. Never been done before in the sport of, I don't know if anyone's done it, but definitely not done in the sport of arm wrestling. Something big is going to happen that night, New Year's Eve, on this channel, ARMTV, mother lovers.
I'll be on. I'll be watching. I'll be home.
My co-host, because there's only one person I could think of that could pull it off with me, is one John Thompson, Uncle John. So
there you go.
I was going to wait to wear this shirt and surprise him. But then I was like, oh, I've got to practice this live thing first. I got to interview Christian Binnie. We're going to practice, and I'll bring out the shirt. So my guest, Christian Binnie. Why is Christian Binnie on? Well, I talked to Peter Milano when we start sharing the NA videos. So you got to interview Christian. And I'm like, yeah, I definitely do. And then since we launched the channel, you've been messaging me little tidbits. Travis is awesome, but one thing that his stories have sort of exposed is that there's so much more, and that he's not the only one who was like experiencing these things. So Christian Binnie has he's shared some little bit of thoughts here and there, and I'm like, ooh, this is getting good. We're gonna have to talk to him. And then we announced we put out that Barry Bourne video, and you put up a comment like, hey, at least he's not among these fake Facebook people. And I was like, what's he talking about? I got to ask Christian Binnie, what do you mean? When you say fake Facebook people, what do you mean? How many
people are trolls? How many people are fake accounts? You know, and there's so many message boards now, you know, you don't know what's real. You don't know who's real. And for me, I think that's a disservice to the sport.
So is it a big problem? Is there a lot of like, okay, so I'm new coming back into the sport, and I see a bunch of names that I don't know them, but I'm naive, and I kind of just assume that they're real people. You're saying I got to watch out because a lot of them aren't real?
From my point of view, and from the way I see it, and it's been happening, is not many of them are real. They're fake accounts. I think that even though in the last few years, the sport has grown tremendously on social media, especially with arm wrestlers getting out there and doing all these seminars around the world, like Devin, of course, Toddzilla, now Travis, Michael Todd. It's spreading hugely. However, it creates fake accounts. It creates these silly questions that have nothing to do with arm wrestling, although they claim it does. And I'm trying to stay away, but sometimes I can't help it, and I'll make a post. I'll look and see if the person is real, or I'll check to see if they're real. And a lot of the times they're not. And I love this sport so much. I've been competing for, oh my God, 88. And it bothers me.
Yeah. So I think I'm about 5 times now that I've got into little messes with internet people that don't have real names, and they've really got under my skin. And I've said point blank, hey, who are you? This is like you wanting to fight me, but you're like, Gary's got to be blindfolded because you're anonymous. I'm putting myself out there, and you want to like attack, but we don't know you. I think it's unfair to be on the internet and engage people, but you don't want to say who you are. So I think 5 times I've straight out said, hey, before we continue, who are you? Let's get rid of the anonymousness so we can have a fair playing field. And 0 for 5. Not one person has been like, okay, here I am, and let's engage. So I agree with you. Your comment was like, I wasn't 100% sure how big of a problem it was. Like, I just see there's so many people I don't know. I don't know anymore. So
well, sometimes you got to search around. There are names that are out there that you think that are fake, and then you'll see some videos, and then you'll see that they have competed. But then there are a lot out there that are fake, and you got a lot of legitimate arm wrestlers and that do create fake accounts and make it worse for us. And I just don't know why they do that.
You know who's real? Barry Bourne.
Yes,
Barry
he
Bourne
is
real.
And yes.
Barry Bourne. Hey,
and you got beaten over the head for having him on an interview, and I think that was the greatest thing in the world to do, to show you that this guy is real. Whether his matches, I mean, like this 10,000 thing, the K thing, and did he really go to Ohio? Is he really up there? Did he compete over the weekend?
Yeah, he did.
But at least he's there.
Yeah.
And it helps, even though it may not help in a good way for him, but it does help and show that he's a real dude. And I dig that. I dig that you put him on.
I have some information for people out there. So, okay, there's this guy, Jimmy Gattieri. Have you seen his posts?
I don't remember this.
Man,
out there.
This guy, he's starting a YouTube channel, the church podcast, Church of Arm Wrestling.
Oh, that's a whole nother thing.
And he's so fired up, and man, he wants to get on ARMTV. I want to interview him, but he's like, dude, you put a crazy person before me, and it's like, I know. But
yes, I saw that. I saw that post you made about him. Why did you put a crazy person in front of me? I saw that. Yeah.
I just want ARMTV Nation. I'm looking at your comments. If you throw up a comment, I'm reading it. I've got the whole setup here. Anyways, I just want you guys to know, please do not take offense, but I do plan on talking to Barry Bourne more. I can't help it. In fact, I can't even disclose it, but it's.
I'll watch it again. I watch your Beauty and the Beast. I watch all your interviews.
It's too crazy not to talk about it. Okay, cool. Okay. Let's go back. I want to say the first time that I met Christian Binnie was I don't know if
the big match. Wasn't it the big match, the big money match? Travis and Jerry.
No, Nationals.
No.
Nationals. That was later in the year.
Oh, yeah, that was 05. That was
2005,
whatever, 05,
2005, earlier in the year. Was it the Nationals?
In Arkansas.
Wait, no, it was 2004 then.
No, 04 was in...
When was the ESPN show?
ESPN was in Indiana at the casino in 04.
Okay, so was that
03 was Arkansas, 04 was Indiana, 05
okay,
was
my bad. Yeah. 04. And
yes, that's right. You were there. Yes.
Yeah.
And Savon did all the interviewing and
the thing that sticks out in my mind about that moment was so I remember a few key moments. I remember Christian Binnie leaning over. I think you were leaning over like a banister, and you were talking about Travis real low key to Sevon, and you're like, I hate him or something. Like you were just really chill. And this was like my first discovery into that. There was like, you were friends, but at the same time, like frenemies. And I was like, oh, it's like Christian Binnie. He doesn't like Travis. And there's like and I remember I was like, oh, there's like, I was still getting new into the sport, but I think that was like, and I remember being a little bit like Sevon was the man. And so I was kind of a little nervous to get in and interview people. But I just remember I have a very big memory of your interview about Travis. And anyways, it stuck with me all these years. Mr. Binnie, thank you.
Yeah, we people, it's out now, but back then nobody knew that we're very, very close. Very close. And we were rooming together. We were rooming all across the country, and we roomed together in Ottawa at the World. And we had created this fake rivalry, and people.
What?
We did it for arm wrestling, and
Christian Binnie, fake.
Yeah.
Fake.
Yeah, we were rooming together, and then we'd get on the stage and scream and yell at each other, and do all these antics. And
fake.
Of course,
fake
news. And 04 was huge. That tournament was huge for arm wrestling, because
did you hear that?
That put arm wrestling on ESPN, and it put our fake rivalry with me going after him. I go like this to him. I go, wait until you see what I said to you tonight. He goes, oh yeah, I'm being interviewed tomorrow. Wait till you see what I say about you. And we're cracking up laughing. And our half hour, the super heavy lefts, there was three weight classes shown, and we had the most views of the three of classes. And there had been so many people at the time saying, I thought it was great. That whole of course, Travis. I love Travis. And that kind of revitalized the sport again in a way where, because it was back on ESPN, and we were going join back and forth, and people thought it was real. And dude, we're rooming together. We roomed for years together. We spent, oh my God, countless hours traveling, 15 hours to Ottawa in a snowstorm. Travis driving like a maniac. Michael Solera sleeping the whole 15 hours in the back seat. We were rooming then that day, that weekend, and we just thought it would be good to because he had heard stuff, I had heard stuff about how the interview went, and how we were drawing back and forth at each other, and we just kept it going.
Oh man, I get it, and I'm cool with that. I guess it's kind of, when we're putting stuff on television. Or, to me, I'll be honest, ARMTV Nation out there, Travis, he still loves TV, but I think shows on YouTube are the future. That's what I think.
Yeah, it's going to be, because TV is going to eventually go away.
Yeah. If you look, I wasn't in the sport during WALs, ESPN, whatever WAL got on television, traditional television. I know you have words, and we'll get into that. I want to know all about it.
Talk about WAL. I was the first one to break their contract.
Yeah. I want to know. I know. For on TV Nation out there, anyone who does not believe this, if you do straight data and you run the numbers of the audience that WAL attracted on television, and then you run the numbers, and let's use the top. Devin Larratt's channel, Alex's channel, or even the videos from Larry Wheel's channel.
Yep.
If you compare the audience reached, the spread of my fingertips.
Yep.
Those guys compared to, let's say, the budget that WAL spent, how much WAL spent to get to competitors. And then you say Devin Larratt and his cell phone, Alex and his bro, or Larry Wheels in his guns. What is more efficient to get a mother fluffing eyeballs?
That's why I said in the last couple of years, even with these fake trolls and all these arm wrestling sites on Facebook, because I'm only on Facebook, I'm not on the other ones. It's got arm wrestling really out there. Huge. And like I said, Devin and all these guys going around doing seminars, it blew up this sport. I just want it to be blown up in a good way. And you when you had Travis on there about the kid, what was his name? You just mentioned this, Alex. 30-something million views, was it? Did you say? Oh no, you said it was a half or whatever of what the NFL gets, or
okay, during that
and
month.
I go and look up the numbers, and you see millions have seen those videos, and I'm like, holy crap. How far did that reach arm wrestling? Reached around the world. It was amazing.
The month, they've come back down right now a little bit, but the month that Alex and his brother went to Larry Wheels, that following 30 days, I ran the traffic between NFL YouTube and them, and that they got 25% of the traffic.
Yes, 25%. Yes, I saw the numbers.
That is bananas.
Yep. Huge. Yep, and that's what's going to beat TV and ESPN. And WAL killed to me, killed the sport. And
okay. Slow down. Let's simmer on this. You're saying big words. You just said WAL killed the sport. That's big words, man. Start slow. What is the first thing that happened that made you start to think that?
You really want to know? First, their contract. That was number one. Having a contract. Number two, if people will watch.
Wait. Why? Let me just having a contract.
You cannot. Well, yes, and then you can't compete. You can't compete in other leagues. You can't compete anywhere else. Listen to Travis with the likeness. His contract, of course, and others. I had the very first one in the very beginning. So, of course, I got sick in 2015. They thought I had a heart attack in my match with Topi at the finals. And that kind of killed me. And they, oh my God, their contracts changed. So Travis's contract, Devin, and all these guys that were now doing individual matches, of course, their contracts changed. And if you listen to Travis, he will tell you straight up how bad those contracts were and how it tied everybody down. And then you have people who only could compete a couple of times a year. To me, that kills the sport.
Okay, let's slow this down just a little bit. Are you stating they shouldn't have had contracts at all, or just different contracts or better contracts?
I think I understand where WAL was coming from. They thought that the sport would blow up after Game of Arms. And so you have to put in the likeness and all that stuff, and you really can't have your a WAL competitor, especially of Devin and Travis's stature, and Chafee's and these guys, Dave Chafee, competing in another league. I get it. But to me, as a competitor, that I can't go somewhere else and compete. I was told I could go out of country and compete. However, they couldn't put it on the internet. Are you kidding me? Then how am I supposed to be able to compete if I go out of country? But then again, if they film it and put it on Facebook, I'm violating the contract. So you kind of get any social media, anybody's site. So you kind of get your hamstrung.
Okay. Hold on. Let me play Steve Kaplan for a second. If in the beginning, I think it's really going to blow up. And if it does blow up,
sure,
then maybe it does justify contracts.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But the minute it didn't blow up, then maybe I got to say, let's readjust.
Yes, you have to some way.
Christian Binnie, hold on.
Listen,
Christian Binnie, before we go on, I have to ask you, you're sporting some fine looking nail polish. I have to ask you, what is going on with the red? Christmas. Yeah. It's very sexy, Mr. Binnie.
Well, I have a 13-year-old daughter, and when she wants to paint my nails, she paints my nails.
Oh,
my precious, my baby girl, my princess gets whatever she wants. That's an issue between me and her mother. Do you have a daughter or no?
I have a 24-year-old daughter.
Yeah, you're right. And remember Dario? You remember Dario from Vegas?
Yeah, I had the video of him.
Yeah, yep. He's 28.
Okay, we're gonna pause.
So now pause. Okay, go ahead.
We're going to pause for station identification. If you're just joining us, we're now up to 40 people. Thank you very much for joining the first ARMTV live feed with Mr. Christian Binnie. He's got some cool. So Travis and I have been doing our show.
Yep.
And Christian's been feeding me little tidbits, and I'm like, I'm going to have to talk to this man. And Uncle John and myself on New Year's Eve, we're going to be busting out. It's never been done before. We have some huge news that night. It's going to be epic. I called up Uncle John because at the end of the day, I think he's a lot better at this stuff than I am. I mean, that's just truth. Uncle John Thompson, you're a beast. I'm a big fan. And I thank you for coming on over to my channel to helping me do this, what we think is just going to be effing awesome. So if you're out there, you got to join us on New Year's Eve. If you're a content creator out there on New Year's Eve, don't even try. Don't even try, because everyone's going to be watching our channel. And if you want to do something, you could just be a guest on our channel, because we're going to have a star-studded event with guests every hour. Bam! Salam! Anyways,
let me tell you real quick what I thought, what started for me, that WAL, although very, very good intentions.
You didn't let me finish my station identification.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. I thought you were done. My bad.
NatFit.
Uncle John.
A couple things just for sponsors. NatFit. We have some NatFit products that are being shipped here. I'm going to give them away. I'm going to keep some for myself, but I'm going to give some of it away to you guys out there. Also, if you have any questions, hang on. We'll take some questions at the end. I can actually read them right here. Bam, bam. And Western Survivor, the beef jerky, my man Adam's Arm Wrestling Company, he's sending us some product. He's giving away an arm bet table. Wow. Just got to get a raffle ticket. And so we're going to start blowing that up. So thank you for being here. Back to Mr. Binnie.
My bad. What I wanted to say about WAL was they had very good intentions. I think they were in the right way of doing things. When we went to the finals in New Orleans, and they had paid actors sitting there, they had it walled, roped off, where they had their own seating, their own food. Also, the camera people and the crew had their own section roped off, their own food. And the arm wrestlers had a few tables and chairs, and we had to buy our food. Now, I understand that, you can't pay for everybody. But when I first saw that, I said, this isn't good. And then we were at one of those Comic-Con buildings, and they started taking the tables. Wait.
I know that's two stories.
No. So they start taking the tables and chairs from the arm wrestlers to give to the Comic-Con people. And here are the arm wrestlers competing all day, and you had nowhere to sit and nowhere to put your stuff, your little babies and everything. And I just said to myself, this is not good. You're not treating us, to me, properly.
Okay, I want to know.
Don't even get me on the King's move that day, but.
Okay, when you walk, for Corey West, thank you very much for the shout out to the room. Stand by. I will contact you about special guests, because we're still working that list. And you, my friend, could be on it. So I do want to talk about this. What is going on with the actors in the audience? Help me understand why it was needed, and what's the point? Why did they have a fake audience? Why not just have the audience be real? Like have the arm wrestlers invite people, or invite people on the street. Why hire people? I don't understand this.
I don't know. Maybe they thought they wouldn't be able to fill the stands, and they didn't want gaps, while they're filming. I mean, it's understandable. But to watch just how the arm wrestlers were treated, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So
did they tell you they were actors?
No.
Did you have to ask?
We knew, because guys tried to go get tables and chairs, and they were stopped. And they're like, we have nowhere to put our stuff. They're going, that's for the actors. And then they were trying to get food, and they're going, that's not for you. That's for the actors. You got to go buy your food. And when I just started seeing that from the very beginning, I'm like, this just isn't good. I understand it all, but for me as a competitor and other competitors, I'm like, this just isn't good.
I mean, okay, so let's say you make a mistake and you're like, we're going to have actors. If you're going to have actors, you got to find out real. You got to find out real quick.
My understanding, they were paid.
Yeah, well, fine. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that I'm going to buy lunch for a paid guy. I should buy lunch for Christian Binnie, the arm wrestler.
I don't want lunch to be paid. I don't care about that. It was the point
No, but you
of
can't buy
watching
lunch.
how they were treating arm wrestlers.
Well, that's my point.
Compared
If you're
to
going to be
others.
paid actors to be there the day, you can't make an obvious treat
Right.
this group better than this group.
Right.
I mean, it's just weird to me.
And then rules changed. In the meeting, you could do the King's move, and it was done twice in the 220s.
Okay. So there was no King's move rule before an event? You're saying it was like invented?
There was a rule that you couldn't do the King's move, I guess, whether it was defensively or offensively. And that had been changed during 2 matches. Frank Hurst with Devin, and Devin did it. Frank was on the way of beating him. And I guess we were all confused on how you could apply the King's move. And it was done to, my God, what's his first name? Green from Kansas City. I love that man. What a great puller.
Stephen Green?
Devin, yes, he had Devin beat too. And then Devin applied the King's move. And we were like, what is going on here? And now, again, they could have said it was when you're doing defensive move, you could apply the King's move. I don't like the move. I think it's crap for the sport, only because when WAL got on ESPN, and I had people coming up to me in the gym saying, what is that? That's not arm wrestling. So if people who know nothing about arm wrestling is watching it and saying this isn't arm wrestling, that's not good for the sport. I understand the rule and I understand it's okay, but to the lay people who don't know arm wrestling, not liking it, it's just not good. And when the same people are winning the same classes over and over, people would tell me, I don't watch it anymore. The same people I know are going to win. That's not fair to WAL. That's not fair to the arm wrestlers. However, that's what was being said to me by people who were watching it who did not have anything to do with arm wrestling.
Hey, you're rubbing your mic. You're rubbing your mic.
To me, was the beginning and the death of WAL being on TV. Then you sign that big contract with Monster, and you stop the big tournaments after 2015, the big money tournaments, and you sign with Monster in 2016, and then everything completely changed.
Wait. You're jumping ahead. You're jumping ahead. So I was listening to a Dan Mosier interview on the Aussie Arm Wrestling show, and they were talking about how Dan Mosier is too fast, and WAL wouldn't be as interested in him because his hit is bam, and he just wants to end shit. And he was saying that he thinks WAL, is more towards, we just want long matches, evenly matched guys, good for television. Did they straight up tell you guys like, hey man, this is for TV. We need to make it TV friendly, and we're willing to bend and play with the rules to make it more
I don't remember that, but I understand. And at the 2015 regionals between Alan Fisher and Luke Kind, it was me, JB, Travis, Devin, and Ron Bath sitting up on like this little stage. And we were watching the matches, and Luke Kind won on fouls. The producers stopped the match, took Bart Wood, went outside of the venue, the whatever you want to call it, went to the office, came back 10 minutes later and said, we will not have matches won on foul outs on TV. And they restarted it, and Luke Kind lost.
Okay, wait.
So
wait, hold on.
Changes.
If I'm spending, I don't know what they spent, but if I'm spending $1 million to put arm wrestling on television, and I'm having a meeting with all you guys, let's say I have you 50 arm wrestlers in the stage, and I'm like, hey guys, I'm spending $1 million here. I do not want foul or matches ending on fouls, and I'm gonna alter rules mid-event if that shit happens. Am I a bad guy?
No, but say it. Tell us. Say it. Don't stop Luke Kind from winning and then having to go on the B side and possibly not come back and get any money for the regionals and possibly lose. And you say it at the beginning. Say it at the beginning. Don't stop the match in mid-match or at the end of it and restart. And the poor guy lost.
I'm torn on this because
yeah, it's understandable. I understand it.
How far into, how many shows had WAL had at this point? Were they still ironing out kinks?
I'm sure they were, because they had I think they started at the Arnold in 2014 or 2013. I don't remember what year it was. Oh, my damn ear thing keeps going out. Then they had the 2014 in Vegas regionals, and then this was then they had the finals in for the first year. It was supposed to be December 2014, but ended up being January 2015 in New Orleans. And then I think it was April or May when this was happening at the regionals in Vegas. I understand it and I get it, but when you watch it as a competitor, to me, it just doesn't look good for the sport.
Okay, let me pause for a second. I get you. I get you. Audience, for those of you in the chat, I want to do something here. Christian Binnie just told us a story where mid-match, a Luke Kent match ended up ending on fouls. They went outside and they changed the rules. Was that okay to do? If it was okay to do in your mind, type 1 in the comments. If it was not okay, type 2. I want to see what's the winning number here. 1, it was okay to do it. 2, it was not okay. Let me see what happens. Type it out. Okay.
In the 2014 regionals, you had separate certain classes, and the female classes, the lighter weight classes, in a different room. When they came back for the top, the final fours, they did not know that there were certain rules that were applied to them when they came to do the final fours in the big room. There was a 2-finger gap between your thumbs when you gripped, which is ridiculous. But they weren't applying it in the other room with the lighter men's class and the women. So when they came to do the final fours, they had the 2-finger gap, and they were like, "What are you talking about? We weren't doing it downstairs." So that's just miscommunication. So that's ironing out the kinks, but it's just, to me, it just wasn't fair to the arm wrestlers. But again, you got to iron out the kinks. It was a big thing going on, a lot of money. It's understandable.
Yeah. You have been listening to the show with Travis. Travis, we love you.
CBD. Travis
CBD. We miss you, Travis. We miss you. Get some of that CBD on there. I've been talking to him about, here's the deal. Don Fritchie gave us $60,000 to host arm wrestling tournaments. 3 years, $60,000.
Coming up, or was this ROTN?
This was back then, ROTN.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
I remember. I just couldn't make the tournaments because of the scratch.
So, I've been talking to Travis, and if we start hosting events again and get some prize money, undoubtedly, I'm going to have to come up with some rules. I want to do some cool stuff. I want to maybe break things a little bit. And I can imagine trying something and seeing it not working and wanting to fiddle in the event. And you're saying, no, if you start the rules at the beginning of the event, you cannot fudge. It looks like two's winning on the comments.
Because mostly arm wrestlers don't pay attention to the rules to begin with, which is also a problem. You don't see many arm wrestlers listening to when they give the rules, and that's on them. But I think if you're going to say at the beginning, hey, look, this is what's going to happen, let them know ahead of time. I don't see a problem with that. But just don't spring it on them.
Okay, back in your earlier comment, you said WAL has broken the sport of arm wrestling or wrecked the sport of arm wrestling. Define that. What is different now that wasn't before WAL?
Their rules that changed everything. Their bigger elbow pads. Their lack of being able to stay on ESPN. Changing from a tournament format to going to just super matches, best of sixes or fives or whatever it is, with only a few certain people competing in it. Now they've been able to get Hermes Gasparini and others from Europe and other places, but mainly it's the same ones over and over. And I don't find that exciting. I don't. I'm sorry. I don't.
Okay,
and them
so
at the beginning making fun of Pal for doing best of fives and best of sixes, all of a sudden in 2016, signing with Monster and taking all that money away, and now going to these 5 and 6 super match format where you're making fun of Pal for doing it. And nobody's competing anymore for WAL except for a handful of people.
Okay, so according to Travis, WAL has its roster of athletes.
Yeah, sure. Yep.
Isn't that just, I don't know, 1% of the arm wrestlers? That means there's 99% of the arm wrestlers who are not in WAL. Aren't they still going to tournaments? Aren't people still hosting tournaments? Why is WAL impacting the tournament structure that existed previously?
Because WAL, but people want to be on WAL. People want to be on TV, and it's just not going to happen. It's these poor guys that are coming. It's just not going to happen, and I just don't think that's fair. They make it seem like these guys that will get on WAL are not, and their rules are terrible. Their rules are terrible. I competed in it. Their rules stink, and for tournaments to hold WAL rules, I just think it's wrong. That's okay. You could do that. It's your league or your tournament. I just think you should stay more along the lines of WAF and IFA, now IFA, and this way people can get used to it. Unless WAL starts tournaments again, where you could compete at a WAL event, which COVID kind of killed everything. So maybe they're going to have tournaments once COVID is over. And that's fine. But their rules and that King's move, it just makes the sport, to me, personally, not good for it.
You think the King's move has impacted that many?
Yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Because I just came back mid-COVID. I haven't really seen – I've seen the move, obviously, but I haven't seen what impact the move has had on the overall sport.
To me, it's had a huge impact. But again, it's the reffing. You got to keep your shoulder up, and if you do, you could do the move, which is fine with me. I just don't like that move. To me, it's not arm wrestling, but that's okay. Listen, when guys started top rolling, they were called cheaters. So nobody liked toppers back in the 70s or when it first started. So it evolves. The sport evolves and changes, and that also is good. But to me and many others, they just don't like the King's move.
Okay, I think I'm quoting. I hope I'm quoting this correctly, but I recall a conversation on Facebook where Bob Brown said, "There's nothing wrong with the King's move. It's the refs are not calling the fouls that they should be calling."
Just said that.
So
I just told you.
Right. So I want to reiterate that if the ref were to just call the fouls correctly, then there'd be no issue with it, right?
However, when you're in a gym and people love arm wrestling to death, and everybody does who I've ever spoken to about arm wrestling, they think it's the greatest, and then they tell you what is that they're doing that's not arm wrestling. So for you to want to spread the sport out, to me, spread the sport out, that's not spreading the sport out. I just think it's a silly rule. However, again, the refs have to apply the rules, keep your shoulder up. But when you see a guy basically laying on the floor and you're both stuck in the middle of the table and nobody can move, it's silliness to me.
I get it. The world is going to turn back on. Of course. And WAL is going to re-engage, hopefully, and start doing hopefully these conversations can make a, impact for change, if you will.
Sure. And maybe WAL will change, to me, for the better. And again, open it up to more competitors. to where guys can get more exposure and more TV time, like Daniel Mosier deserves to be on it, and quite a few others. And hopefully that will spread, and it will work out for everybody who love WAL. I just don't like WAL. Like I told you earlier, I was the first one to break their contract.
Yeah. Tell me about that. Why did you break the contract?
Well,
wait. You were the first
to break the contract.
Were you scared to do that?
Oh God, no. What are you going to come get me? I didn't own anything. I rented a house. I didn't even own a car. I owned a motorcycle. Go take my motorcycle. I'll go back real quick. We're at the finals in 2015 in Vegas. I felt incredibly amazing, mentally wise. My first matches with Blaine Middleton. My wife had come to the tournament with me. She hadn't been to a tournament since the huge Niagara Falls 02 money tournament. So it's been a long time, 13 years. First match with Blaine Middleton, I didn't feel good. I looked at her, I said, something's wrong. I'm pulling Rob Topey. We go in the straps, and I after the match, and now nothing from Rob. I beat him fairly easy in the year before, 2014. I felt confident, and we're in the straps, and here I am pressing. Something was wrong. I get off the stage, can't breathe. The EMS come over. They go, we think you're having a mild heart attack. You got to go to the hospital. I said, there's too much money here. I'm not leaving. They call my name up. I went back up on stage.
What? Wait.
No, I'm not.
Somebody tells you they think you're having a heart attack, and you said
Neil Pickup was right there. Tim Bresnan was right there. My wife sees me say, because my wife's hearing impaired, and she's behind the EMS, and she only reads lips, and she sees me say, I am not going to the hospital. She freaked out. I hear my name being called. It was with a guy who just recently turned pro, big, massive mother effer, Ken Blackman from, I think he's in Cincinnati, Ohio. I know he played for the Cincinnati Bengals. Massive, great guy. But I knew I had confidence to beat him. I had a long war with him. I can't breathe still. I go backstage, and I'm like, this. They go, you got to go. They called my name. I ran up on stage and pulled a big Davey, the one with the big arms. And
Jeff Dave.
And then I don't know what happened. I don't remember, but they said, I'm like, where am I? They go, you're at arm wrestling. I go, what are you talking about? I'm arm wrestling. I had no clue. So they physically carried me off the stage. So because there was so much money, 20,000 K, 10,000 K for second. And any tournament that Travis and I have ever been to, except for the 05 Vegas tournament, we're always first and second. So I had the confidence that I know I was going to get it's Travis's rules and leagues. So, and the best of three, you're not beating Travis. So I know the worst I was going to get in my mind was second place in 10K. And here I am having all these issues. And that was it. And it was terrible. It was with my wife. And I started to be able to catch my breath. EMS saying, you should go to the hospital. I said, I'll be fine. I'm not going. And I ended up going home that night. And it was funny because I saw Sean Latimer a little while later, and I go, how'd you do? He goes, I got 7th. I go, who'd you get 8th to? He goes, you. I go, what do you mean me? He goes, they came up to me and said, we're not calling Christian's name anymore because he won't stop getting up on the table.
What?
So we're just going to give you 7th place.
What?
So what happened was now in 2000, now I go to doctors. I have high blood pressure to begin with. It's genetic in my family. There was something going on with my heart. 2016 rolls along. I needed the money. Vegas WAL wasn't until June or July.
Okay, wait. Hold on.
Real quick. So
I know, man. Come on.
Well, this is why I'm going to tell you why I broke the contract.
I know, but I want to get. Okay, so you've mixed events.
No, so now Pal comes to me and asks me to pull.
Right. I get it, sir. Right. Hold on.
Go ahead.
During the time that you were having heart issues, would you say that you had like a poor diet? Or are you saying it was genetic?
High blood pressure is genetic in my family. My 95-pound sister has it. My 170-pound brother has it with bowl on.
Because when you went home from that event, did someone say, hey, start eating more vegetables? And
I'm a fairly good eater, except for a pint of ice cream every night before bed. I'm a fairly good eater if you don't look it. But I'm not a crap eater. I don't eat garbage. I'm not a candy eater. I'm not a butter eater. I don't eat, I'm not a crap eater. So That's why I've always stayed the same weight, basically. So I went right to the doctor that Monday, and my EKG came back, and she goes, "I just called the cardiologist. You go in there right now." So kind of got a little scared. I did the heart test, stress test. Everything was fine. I became anemic. So I had other issues going on at the same time. Pal calls me late 2015, and they go, "Will you compete for us?" And I needed the cash. I couldn't wait till June or July, and that's when I went to Pal.
Binnie, the time when you were having the first heart issues and in Vegas and Pal calling you, how much time between that?
Well, the Vegas tournament, the finals was July 2015. Pal, now I did the stress test, so my heart was fine. So I said, okay, I'll compete. And Pal calls me, and I said, sure.
Yeah, how much time went by?
Probably the end of maybe December 2015 or January 2016, because I competed that February 2016 with Pal.
Okay, are you taking there's somebody in the chat named Armed and Dangerous. They said, Binnie, I challenge you to a 5K match, best of 3. Let me know, buddy.
I don't know who that is. So see, there you go.
And
name, dude. Let me find out if you're
Bad Machine, Christian Binnie said that for the holidays, he allowed his daughter to paint his nails. This is why he's sporting the cute nails.
He paints them all the time.
So Pal calls you, and you're like, I'm in a contract. You're like, let me get out of the contract. What?
I said to WAL, can I compete in Europe? I thought it was going to be Europe, but I called Devin first, then Travis first, and said, look, I need the cash really bad. I can't wait till June or July. What do you think's going to happen? And they said, you got to do what you got to do. So I called WAL up, and I said, I'm going to compete for Pal. And they says, well, we can't tell you whether or not we're not going to go after you. I says, well, you want to come after me civilly, you come after me civilly. I got nothing, and don't worry about it. And then when I had that match against this Armenian tough guy, Armenian, and Bob Brown was there, and I still had my issues. The same thing happened on stage. I started having bad breathing problems. And I said, this is not good. And then I got offered to pull Ole Koa in June or July, and I said, sure, because I needed the money. And I went and pulled Ole, who was a freak, and he just manhandled me, which was fine. And then I started getting injuries. I tore 3 rotators in 2016. I went to the Florida State WAL event, where the overall winner could go right to the finals in 2017 to WAL.
Okay.
So I competed.
Pause.
Go ahead.
That rule, when they announced that, was everyone like, that's amazing? Like, you get to jump right into the finals?
I think so. I think you were allowed to go right to Vegas to compete in the finals. So I had to pull the overalls. 2 weeks before I went to the Florida State WAL, I tore 3 rotators goofing around in my right shoulder, MRI done. I go to the WAL Florida States. I pulled Daniel Worley in the overalls, and we slipped, and I felt really bad pain. And I said, Daniel, I think I tore something. He thought I was kidding. I was able to beat him.
Dan Worley?
Yeah, we slipped out of the straps, and I said, Dan, he's like, no, you're messing with me. I go, Daniel, I'm not. I ended up tearing I beat him, and I ended up tearing 3 rotators. Now that I got the heart issue going on and some stuff going on, I become anemic. I got my shoulder going on, started feeling better. I go to the PAF finals in 2017, and my heart issue started up again. I went 0-2, my first time ever in my life since I first started arm wrestling. I ended up getting a specialist in 2018, and I find out what the
hold on, Binnie. Had you broken the contract yet at this point?
Oh, I had broken it in 2016, and they never came after me until they saw that I won the overalls at the Florida States, and they said, you are banned from competing in a WAL event until December 2017. I said, okay, fine.
Okay, I have a comment on this contract. We have 47 people now watching. I don't know if anyone is watching that's related to WAL or knows people with WAL, but I'm going to give my opinion on this contract for what it's worth. If I'm a league and I make you sign a contract that's somewhat exclusive, I should be offering you opportunities on a regular basis to arm wrestle. Let's say once a month. If I sign a contract, I say, Christian Binnie, you can make 10 grand for first, 7 grand for second, 5 grand for third, at least once a month. I would feel not too bad about saying I want you to come to my events so you can't arm wrestle anywhere else. But if I'm only hosting 2 events a year,
right?
How could I tell you you can't arm wrestle the other 10 months?
Exactly.
That doesn't make any sense to me. So anybody out there like who's thinking of putting people in contracts, you can't put somebody in a contract that requires them to do nothing and not even make any money. It's one thing if I paid you to sit on the couch. If I paid you to sit on the couch and you sign the contract, you're like, yeah, I'm taking my paycheck, then that is something different. But this contract thing needs to be, it's a little bit weird because from what I am understanding, there's not a million WAL events. Even before COVID, there wasn't a million WAL events. So how could you lock people down to not compete? The sport's not big enough for that. That's my piece. If anyone out there hears that, make a change because that's some bullshit. Okay.
But I understand why they did it. It's understandable. But for arm wrestlers who want to compete, and you can't. And because when you say you can compete out of country, but it just can't be on social media, you know it's going to be on social media right away. So it's you're kind of stuck. And it is what it is. So I violated February 2016, competed at a WAL event in November 2016, got banned until December 2017. And by that time, I had the physical and medical issues that didn't get settled to 2018. And then I went to an event in 2018 and tore 2 of the torn rotators completely off the bone and tore the bicep tendon frayed.
You're a mess, Christian Binnie.
So
God.
So now I'm training twice a week on Saturdays and Sundays.
So you're back.
Well, I had my shoulder finally fixed in January of this year, but then COVID hit, so I couldn't do any PT, physical therapy. And then I had my right knee replaced in July. So I lost my job in March. I'm retired correctional officer, but I was still, I was working. So I lost my job in March. So I had my knee done in July, and then September I started PT on both, and I started going back to the gym after not being in the gym for 10 months and for not training really just Saturday and Sundays for 2 years. And I feel great. It's the first time I actually, because since 2016, I'd be at practice and I couldn't finish anybody. I felt okay, but I just couldn't pin anybody. It would take me forever. So I knew something was going on. But for the first time, I went to practice a few weeks ago and I felt fantastic. And as long as everything stays healthy, I do PT 3 times a week and 4 times in the gym, very slowly, gradually, not pushing it.
Well,
I finally,
I'm excited. So we're going to see you back
hopefully
2021.
And I haven't felt, seriously, you say stuff to make yourself feel good and tell others, but physically, arm wrestling wise, I haven't felt that good since 2015, before at the regionals, at the WAL regionals. It's the first time. And I started.
We glossed over it. Why did you leave the sport from 2009 to 2013?
My back. I had a rod screws in a cage put in at
SPNL5
and L4.
I have never heard someone have so much physical problems. You should be like the bionic man.
Well, I broke the left arm in 97 at the AAAs. I tore the 2/3 left bicep at the 06 Unified, had it reattached. I tore the right bicep completely off the bone.
I don't want to hear anymore. I don't want to hear.
But anyway,
you said Devin Larratt brought you back in 2013. What?
Oh,
what do you
real quick. Yes. Devin started getting on my case, started making fantastic videos, him and John Milne. destroying me. They were fantastic. Loved them. And so he was trying to get me back. We moved to Florida in 2012, January. Started helping guys down here. Would go to practice and help them. And he came up to me, called me one day and said, look, Marvin Cohen wants me and you to pull for $50,000.
What?
And I said, well, listen. So I said, listen, I said, it's Marvin Cohen. He goes, Christian, call him. So I called Marvin. It was going to be set for that August. That August, I was having knee surgery. So I said, I can't do it. So Marvin goes, we'll put it on in November. I said, okay, fine. But by that time, I canceled the knee surgery. And I said to Marvin and Devin, I'll do it. And they said, no, we're doing another, we'll do it in August. They said, no, I'm going to have Devin pull a non-arm wrestler and get tested, drug tested, pull a non-arm wrestler in August. That's when at a tournament, Marvin was going to put on a tournament, have Devin pull some non-arm wrestler, and our match was going to be in November. I said, okay, fine. So that's when he canceled 2 days before, and Robert Drank and Bill Collins jumped in and saved that event and made it a UAL.
That was that event.
Right. So of course I don't get to pull Devin in, but I stayed in the sport and started competing.
Justin Bishop shocks the world. That's my viral video that came from that
Justin Bishop
event.
that day. Wow. And he, oh my God, that was amazing, that match, especially against Giannis.
So
my God, what a match that was.
We're pausing for station identification. We're now up to 50 people on our first live broadcast ARMTV with Christian Binnie. This is officially Gary's other.
Lights went on.
That was weird. Hold on. This is officially Gary's other arm wrestling show, Chapter 4. And important to notice, New Year's Eve, Uncle John, he's in the chats, I think. We're sporting his shirt. We are doing a collaboration. You have nothing else to do on New Year's Eve? Join us at ARMTV. It's a live broadcast. Our first guest of the show will be Neil Pickup, 5 p.m. Central Time. Uncle John and myself and Neil, every hour, we're looking to host people, special guests throughout the evening. And we have some big ass news to announce. It's crazy. Uncle John, if you're still in the chat, I'm so excited to do this with you. And you got to come. You got to come. It's going to be badass. Hey, I've been on for an hour. There's no super chats. What's up? Someone drop me a super chat. Come on now. Super chat.
Neil was backstage when they said that they thought I had a mild heart attack. You got to go to the hospital. And I was distraught. And Neil's like, Christian, don't worry about it. Anyway, listen, real quick to get back to why I sent you a text about Travis and Savan when they first met.
Yeah. Okay. What did Travis leave out?
The 03 Unifieds in Arkansas. I was rooming with Travis and Michael Solaris. We're online. Travis will deny this. We're online with Chris Myers, Steve Black, Travis, and Michael. Savan, why I don't know, comes up to me and says, introduced himself, him and Bessie, and said, we're doing a documentary on John Brzenk. It was had nothing to do with how it turned, the documentary turned, and said, John Brzenk said to come up to you and talk to you. I go, why me? Because I only pull lefty, and I had won several national titles. I won the Harley pull, and I just got back in the sport after breaking my arm back in 01. I did a couple small events in 99. And I'm like, why me? And then when Travis heard we're doing a documentary, that was it. And Travis, and I don't care, who cares? I love Travis to death. And Travis and Mike and everybody, Bessie and Savan went and spoke to many, many people. But from that point on, Travis and Savan were like, nonstop, and we're best buddies. But that's how we met Savon and Bessie. Not what Travis said. But Savon came to me, said, Jay, we're doing a documentary on JB. He said, come talk to you. I was like, why me? And Travis heard documentary, and that was the end of it. And that's the beginning of pulling John and that whole thing. That's how we all met. But that story could go on that night. What happened that night, I'd rather not say. With Mike Solaris and the lovely waitress.
Tease it. What do you mean? Like, I don't want to break up any families, but you're saying something crazy happened that night?
Michael wasn't dating anybody at the time. He wasn't near anything to do with his wife. He hooked up with a waitress. She said she wasn't dating anybody. Ends up she was married. They came knocking on our bedroom, on our hotel door. She was a waitress in the hotel with her mother-in-law. And they're knocking. Her father and her husband were knocking on our door, and
what?
And Mike wanted to hide the girl in my room. I said, "Get the hell out of here! Get out of my room!" And because it was because we were upgraded, so we had 2 double beds, but we were upgraded where we had the door in between the rooms, and it was a king bed. So I took that because I always told them, if I make the plans, I get a bed. You get a mattress and a box spring. So when we were, so they got a bed each, and I took the big room. So he tried bringing the girl in my room. I said, "Get her the hell out of here," and that's how that night went. So yeah, it was ugly. It got real bad with the husband and father banging on the door looking for the daughter and wife. Yeah, it was ugly.
Oh my, we're running short on time. I gotta ask you. I got to ask you about this right here.
I love ARMTV. You know that.
I got to ask you about.
Oh, the big match.
So why was this event almost canceled? I really foggy about it. I don't know if you've been paying attention, but I had a lot of the drama beforehand, but why? I can't quite pin down why this match, why James didn't want this match. And then you and Christian, or you and Peter were like, we got to do the match. It doesn't have to be related to the NAA. Like,
I don't know anything. I'll tell you what I know. They came, I was offered a challenge match, not a super match. Somebody wanted to pull me. I said, fine, we'll pull $1,000 each. And James and Peter were going to have their first tournament, and said to me, why don't you have it at our tournament? I said, okay, fine. I said, why don't you look at my venue? You sit down and talk to them. I have nothing to do with it, but just look at the venue. If you like it, you like it. They loved the venue. The guy could not come up with $1,000. So my challenge match was canceled. But they said, we're going to be able to get Travis to pull Jerry for 15 grand. So I said, okay. And I ended up vouching for Travis. I told Jerry and Alan Stilkey that I'll make sure Travis has the money. I'll vouch for him. He'll be there. I did not know that the match was almost canceled. I don't know anything about that. I was just the money guy on Travis's side. At first I got a check. Jerry.
So you had to vouch for him.
I vouched for Travis. Yes, I did. Dude, he's my boy. As much as I hate him on a table, and there's some things I hate that he's done in arm wrestling, he's still my boy, and I vouched for him.
So you were agreeing that if Travis didn't come up with the money, that you would front it.
I vouched for him. I got a check from Travis. Jerry said, "There's no check." I said, "You never said cash. You never said check or cash." I got a check in my hand with Travis's name on it. He said, "Okay, fine." And then that's when they came up with Amadeo Goga with the cash. I picked up the cash. I held the cash and put it in the safe and stuff like that. But I did not know that the match was almost canceled.
Do you have any other insight that you've been holding on to all these years about this match?
I don't know anything more about that match, only that. There's other things in arm wrestling with other leagues. We were there at the NAL event where we did the live web broadcast feed. I loved that day. We had a great time. I did.
Did you know about the 2-to-1? I completely forgot about the 2-to-1.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I know.
Why?
What do you
Isn't
mean,
that
why?
that seems just so super ballsy?
Yes, it was, but I knew about it. I didn't think much of it. I just thought the refereeing was horrific. I said to Travis, grip him low, and he'll flop in a hook with you. He goes, I got no bicep. I said, I know that. You're stuck. But, you know, the way they both pull, it's just tons of fouls, and it was a cluster F.
And were you Travis is going to win this all day, or were you nervous, or?
I was very nervous because of the way Travis pulls and Jerry pulls. I wasn't too sure that Travis could win it, but I also knew that he could. Travis's problem is, even to this day, that if he gets stopped, he's going to have a lot of difficulty left-handed at times. So, and you know, Jerry could stop him, and then it's an all-out war, and then it's the elbow fouls. Travis off the back, Jerry off the front. It was a
Did you see? I don't know if you saw on Facebook, but Jerry Cadorette, when I posted this just recently, he was calling out Travis Bajan again. I haven't talked to Travis about it, but he was like, "Let's do it again. I'll flip the odds."
I think just recently that Travis was able to beat Jerry. I don't think Travis ever beat Jerry, but I think they pulled at a wall event. I know they pull lefty. Jerry's left is not like his right, obviously. And I think that was I don't know if Travis ever beat Jerry right-handed. The styles are, you know, that style's tough for Travis. So but I don't know if they ever won, but the way Travis had been pulling right-handed with Wall beating Dave Chafee and others, you know, he pulls out that bag of tricks, and I think he could beat him. Yeah.
I think, where do you fall in the camp? Travis can get his mojo back and be
anytime.
You believe
but
it?
He needs, of course, but he'll need a few weeks. You know, he's got to prepare himself.
He says he's training.
Yeah, you know, he does his little training. He lies a lot. You know, he'll tell you he's doing this and that, and he'll be doing the opposite. He's only training a little bit, but he'll be training hard ass. I'm not doing anything, but he'll be doing something. So, and I know when he's BSing, and he knows that. I sent him little tidbits, and he laughs because he knows I catch him in lies. But it's all good, and I like the way he's been lately, because he's kind of been, to me, appears to be more honest and more open with arm wrestlers. And I think there are that after what all we went through in the early 2000s and things like that, there are certain arm wrestlers that should be making money from the sport. Him is one of them. Devin, Dave Chafee. I still think Tim Breslin, even though he's pal. There, you know, even some of the lighter weight guys should get out there. Toddzilla, you know, should get out there and promote themselves more. Where they do the seminars and they can make some money. That these guys, we've been killing ourselves for 30 years, 20 years. They deserve it. Travis is one of them. So I'm glad he's got the CBD going. I'm glad he's got the seminars going, and he deserves it.
You've been watching our show?
I've hated him. Of course I do. Dude, I went back and watched the chapter. I went back and watched number 16 yesterday. Of course. I look forward to 30. What is it? What is the next one?
53 is coming out.
Yep, yep.
I didn't plug it.
Oh, of course my God. I plugged it for you. There you go.
How in the world did I plug it? Oh, guys, I can't believe I didn't plug it. Tonight on Travis's channel, chapter 53, The Hard Truth About Amateur Arm Wrestling. Teased in, find out Travis's true feelings about one world champion, elite, 4-line royal blood, Barry Bourne. Oh my God. Oh my God. If you are just joining us, we're getting ready to wrap up. But for those of you guys who are mad that we're interviewing Barry Bourne, man, we have to have some fun.
Yes.
I'm of the opinion that having some fun will not hold the sport back from it. No sponsors. If you pull your sponsorship money because you watched my man Bourne from Bourne Street, an interview with him on ARMTV, if you yanked your money, you were going to yank your money at some point anyways.
Can I say one thing real quick? And I don't mean to interrupt you because I want to get it in before we leave.
Yeah.
I don't know how it is in other states. And I just want to say this real quick. We were able to make a damn good of money running tournaments in Connecticut. And we would have everything paid. We would add a little money for ourselves, and then all the contest, you know, the what do you call it? Well, you know, when you sign up for $30, you know, the entry fees were all gravy to us. So we would add a little for me and James, me and Peter, because James had left for Charlotte. So it was me and Peter doing them. And we would throw in for us, and then we would get all the whatchamacallit was entry fees was gravy. Because in Connecticut at the time, liquor sponsors would pay for everything. So my boss had no money coming out of his pocket, and we would triple, quadruple his Saturday sales.
Really?
So a beer company, you could get Budweiser, you could get Miller, you could get 4 liquor companies, throw in a few thousand each, and get everything paid. So no money came out of him. And that's how we were. I would give him an amount. This is what we need. He'd say, okay, fine, I get it. But the law changed in Connecticut, and only one liquor company could do it. So that's why we had to move our last tournament into New York, and it became a cluster F. So laws had changed. But so if you go to state and you're running tournaments, and this guy Frank up in Idaho, you know, look into things like that where the liquor companies will pay for it, and you throw their names on the posters and stuff, which you don't really have to do. But you know what I'm saying? And that's how we were able to make so much money throwing tournaments.
Here's my goal. You said, and when I was leaving arm wrestling, I remember, I think Alan Fisher told me that WAL was impacting. Not Alan Fish. I can't remember. I was at a LA Fit Expo, and someone else told me that back in like 2015. But I'm going to start putting on some stuff. I think with Travis, it seems like that's good. I want to reinvigorate arm wrestling on a no contract level. This channel, as it blows up, I was thinking about it the other day. I was thinking, what sets us apart from other arm wrestling channels? In most arm wrestling channels, the host of the channel is them. Well, if my channel blows up, I want the people that I want it to be about you guys. I'm a host, but I want the glory to go to other people. So as this channel gets bigger, I host events. I want the people who win the events, the 1, 2, 3. I want you guys to be the stars. I want to make a show about you guys. So I hope that what we can do is start bringing it back a bit. And I'm on the camera because I'm cheap, but I want it to be about you guys. Hey, Devin Larratt entered the chat. Who is this guy? This Christian motherfucking Binnie.
Hey, Devin, I hope you're feeling better, bro. I hope you're healing up and feeling better. Merry Christmas, brother.
Merry
you
Christmas,
and the family.
Devin Larratt. Hey, Corey West asked Christian, what is your top 3 favorite arm wrestling channels in no particular order?
ARMTV, ARMTV.
Oh, we paid the Binnie to say that.
No, you did not. I don't really watch them. I just watch who's ever on at that time. And I watch, I'm being truthful. I watch if it's somebody that piques my curiosity, I'll watch it. Yeah. I do watch Michael Todd's, Corey. I have to admit that I watch Michael's. I do. And I watch Beauty and the Beast. I watch Gary stuff. And whoever piques my interest, some stuff on Ryan Espy's, depending on who he's got. So yeah, a few people.
Christian, I appreciate the support. I appreciate you being patient with being, I wanted to interview you weeks ago, but thanks for coming on our very first live show. I think we didn't have any too big. I'm a little scared to do the screen sharing, but it turned out okay. I forgot to turn on my super chat. So we'll get this down. But man, dude, thank you very much. We know you love arm wrestling. I'm glad to hear that you're starting to get things back together and hopefully compete next year when the world turns back on.
Yeah, I hope so too. I feel like I said, you'd always say you feel good. I finally really do. And I wanted to meet Bubs. I didn't get to meet Bubs, but that's okay. Thank you, Gary, for having me on. I've always loved you. You know that. You're the man. You did so much for this sport. You blew it up huge. And I'm glad you're back.
Well,
and you have a Merry Christmas to you and your new bride.
Merry Christmas, and give a hug to the missus.
I will. A Happy New Year, and be safe, brother. And I'll see you on New Year's. I'll be connected.
All right. Thank you, brother. Thank you. And for those of you guys out there, New Year's Eve, Uncle John, Star-Studded Cast, right here, starting 5 p.m. Central Time. We are going to do something that is bad-ass.
Here's my team, the Silverbacks, South Florida, baby.
I totally forgot to ask you about that. You're in Florida. Like that totally threw me for a loop. So you're down. You're
South Florida, east side, South Florida, Palm Beach County.
All right.
Sounds like it's a lot of money, but no, it's.
Well, next time I get down to Florida, would love to see you.
You know that. I'd love to see you. You know that.
All right, Gary Roberts, Gary's other arm wrestling show out.
Thank you.
Thanks, brother.
Thank you, pal.